today we're going to do a tutorial that's live, but it's not live because we pre-recorded it. So we are going to be focusing on our Simply Stamp series and finishing this. Now you can refer to last week or a couple weeks ago when we did other finishing tutorials. It's going to be very similar techniques, except we've changed around a couple of the things just to kind of show you how you can give a bigger margin, working with Ada versus even weave, that kind of thing. So let me first show you the pieces that we're talking about. We came out with USA Forever Stamp. Jocelyn designed all of these, and we started this in 2023. They were really, really popular. It's a PDF that's only available at Fat Quarter Shop. And when we designed the Fall Forever Stamp, you guys really loved the fox in the Stitch Quarterly, so Jocelyn used that as inspiration for Fall Forever. And then Love came out this year, 2024, and I stitched it, and that's what we're going to be finishing today. And then Spring Forever Stamp just came out. And so with this series, what we're trying to do is do something that's the same stitch count. They all have stitch counts of 62 by 62. So all of those have that. We are going to continue. 4 have been released so far. We're going to continue releasing them. And these are all stitched with DMC. Another thing to note is we've done different fabric on all of them. We're just kind of coming up. They're not meant to be displayed together. They're just meant to be something fun and do something different and different finishing. So you can see the first one was done with a board by 141 Design. This one was finished using chenille trim by Lady Dot Creates. We did a video on that that is linked right here. This one is finished on a board from Hobby Lobby. And then this one, we decided to buy, we decided to design our own board and have that made, and it's made in America. It's actually made in Austin, Texas, and we're going to continuously keep these in stock. And the reason why is if you want to just keep finishing them, since we're going to keep doing this as a series, you can just interchange them out and then you won't have to spend as much money. But this is fun because we'll keep doing tutorials on finishing. So I'm going to talk about this easel and how we came up with it. So like I said, Jocelyn designed all of the Forever Stamps, and we met somebody in Austin, and he's been great to work with. And so we had him make this. This is called Small Soft White Wooden Easel Display. And you can either put that on the wall with a nail, or you can put this in. Now, it is expensive. It is going to be more expensive than anything you would buy at Hobby Lobby or Walmart, and that is because it is made in America, made in Austin, Texas, and designed by us. So basically, I think Brittany designed this, and Jocelyn designed the pieces, and then now, if we keep doing the Forever Stamps, we won't have to keep going to the store to buy them because you guys don't want to have to keep going to the store either. So we sometimes need to make our life easy also. So let's talk about the supplies, and as I'm going to talk about how this is different than the previous tutorial that we did a couple weeks ago. So for this, you need a sticky board. We are using the 11 by 14 size because you can cut all 3 of the pieces you need because you're going to need 3 pieces. 1, 2, 3. You can get all of that from this. The fabric we're using today, this is a Priscilla's Pretty Plaid and a Chelsea's Check. Those are Henry Glass fabrics. We sell both of those. The SKU number is on your pattern. We are going to be finishing the Love piece, so not this one, but we're going to be finishing Love Forever Stamp, and the reason why is I just finished it. We're going to be using finishing tape. Just make sure whatever finishing tape you use is acid-free. We're going to use a batting. We're using 80-20 batting just because that's what we prefer. Friction pin because we can get the heat off. We can get, sorry, I have hiccups. We can get the ink off with an iron. We're going to use a stiletto, basic sewing supplies. I've said it before, but all of these, they're all used just for cross stitch because they get hot glue on them. We are using a hot glue gun, and then we're doing a bow here. So we're going to kind of jump right in. I want to talk a little bit about the pieces and Denise is going to be doing the tutorial. So I'll talk and she's going to do this. So let's talk about the piece. Let's zoom in a little bit, Jordan. So what Denise wanted to do with this is show you a couple different ways. So if we want this center piece to always be 5 inches, so she cut this 5 inches. If you're looking at something that is stitched on 25 count, you're gonna have about 1/4 inch on all sides. If you're stitching on 14 count, which is actually smaller, even though it sounds bigger, you're gonna have about maybe 3/8 of an inch around. So basically we made this design, it's always gonna be 62 by 62, and it will always work with either a 14 count Aida or a 25 count Lugana. And then we're gonna always start with this size, which is 5 inches. But what Denise did is she's gonna show you, you can do 1/4 inch bigger on the second board and 1/2 inch on the next one, or you could do 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. So you can kind of see, and then this one obviously finishes a little bit, it's not apples to apples because this size is not the same as this size. And all of the patterns, we list exactly where you get these boards so you can do either. But you could even do 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and just have it closer to the edge. So we are gonna just jump right in. She's gonna do the tutorial. I'm gonna talk through it, and I'm gonna get out of her way. So basically, we've already ironed this, and when you iron, what you want to do is put this. Let me show you this right here. So you want to put it on something like this, which is the yarn tree. What's it called? Pressing cloth. Pressing cloth. So when you do a cross stitch and you want to iron it, what we do is we use this pressing cloth. We put it right side down and press, and that's what we've already done. Just we try not to press on the front side, we just press on the back. So what Denise is gonna do here is she's going to mark outside on the lines, and to get it to be 5 inches, that is 4 squares to the left of the design. And Aida is easier to finish on because you can draw the lines easier than you could. So you can see she's counting 4 squares away, and we already came up with that because this is the 4th one she's finishing, or the 5th one now. So you could also use a ruler. You can do it however you're more comfortable. With the Aida, it's just easier to finish because the fabric is a little bit stiffer, and so it will hold better and stay in place a little bit better than even weave, if that makes any sense. So see, she was just counting, and we're using friction. Like I said, this is a pin that will disappear with heat later. I definitely wouldn't use a pencil. I'm not sure what else you could use besides a friction pin. I guess you could just eyeball it. But she's gonna mark that, and then what she's gonna do is cut outside those lines about 1 inch away. But this will be, when she's done, we'll show you with a ruler, but it's gonna be about 5 inches square with the lines. So this piece is cut 5, and if you put it right there, it's 5. But you can show them on a ruler. And we did this because, you know, some of these we did in 25 count, and some of you guys love 25 count, and some of you are just like insistent that we only do 14 count. So we made this doable for either count, so that it's great for beginners. Now, Denise is left-handed. She's gonna cut 1 inch outside of that drawn line. And we did get a question in a previous video that was a great question, is this a different rotary cutter? And it's not. You just change the blade and put it on the opposite side. And so she already has the press on board, and whatever brand of sticky board you use, I would just recommend that it be acid free. And we have found that using the stiletto will get the sticky off easier. It only took us a couple years to figure that out. And what she's gonna do is put that right side down on the batting. Like I mentioned, we're using 80-20 batting. Now, if you want your piece right here to be puffier, this has 1 layer of batting. If you want it to be puffier, you could do 2 layers of batting, or you could do a poly batting. We have placed batting on this top piece and no batting on the fabric pieces. You can do whichever you want. You could do all 3 layers with batting, whatever you want to do. But if I was going to make it thicker, I would do 2 layers of 80-20 versus poly, just because I don't have poly. I don't use poly batting. It's super thick. So I would just use whatever you have on hand for that. And that gives you a little bit of versatility. And so now she's going to put the batting right side down on top of the piece. And she's going to, you can draw the lines on the back or you can eyeball it. Now she's going to eyeball it because Ada is easier. And when I did my piece a couple of weeks ago and you saw it and it didn't come out exact, it was even weave, which is a lot harder to do. So she's going to try to do it without drawing the lines because that's how she normally does the finishing. And we'll see if it works. We're going to basically wrap the piece to the front. We're going to wrap the front to the back, and we're going to, this sticky tape right here is double-sided. So she's going to take the stiletto, stick it in the tape, and then just yank it off. And with this, this is a fancy stiletto. You really don't need something this fancy. This is kind of just what we have. You could use your fingers. That's like an optional, you know, you don't have to use a stiletto. And so what she's doing is she's looking at it from the front, and you can see that board from the front, and she's evening it up from the front before she pulls it back. And then you're going to want to do 2 opposite sides first instead of bottom, left, top, right. You always want to do 2 opposite sides, just because it makes it kind of straight on both before you go to the other. If you try to do this, it doesn't work as good. And I would say, since we're not live today, what would be great is everyone give tips on how you finish, because that is one way that we all learn. One thing I did want to say that we did learn from Nancy in our last video is if when you're cutting with your self-stick board, use a dull blade, and instead of cutting on the sticky side, if you start cutting your board on the white side, plain side, it will go in easier, and you just have to kind of anchor that, anchor the blade all the way down and then push. So we've done 2 sides, and we're going to do the opposite 2 sides. And then one thing that Denise does, if you're looking, she takes that tape and puts it all the way to the edge, because then that will catch everything. It also gives her more room to manipulate when she's placing that down. And when she, you'll want to pay close attention to when she tucks in the corners, because her corners are always really nice and beautiful because the way she does it. If you do it, you could always do it another way, but I think you might like this. So this is our first board. And what we used to think is oh, we could trim like this down and make it less bulky, but it's really not needed with the way that we came up with this, or Denise came up with this. So she's, you know, working from the middle to the outside, making sure it's straight before she does those corners. And like I said, Ada is, if you're a beginner finisher, Ada is so much easier to work with. It just, the stiffness of it works well for finishing. So there she goes in. Instead of 90 degrees, she goes in 45 or so. Makes it really taut, and then she's pulling it to the back. So you can really see how she's doing that. And you do the corners first, and then she's going to look at it in the front and then pull it to be straight. Now this one, compared to the video we did a couple of weeks ago, is a little bit easier to do, and I will show you why. When we did our tutorial last week, or a couple weeks ago, you can see this has a straight line and it's even weave. It was harder to get straight. This has a border that's wavy. So it's a lot easier if it's not perfectly straight. You're not going to see it as much as you would with something with a straight, solid border. And so again, that center size is 5 inches. And then she is using the stiletto to help with the color, with the corners. And I'm going to show you how to get the ink of that friction pen off. And I would say, you know, finishing, it's an art, it's not a science, so it's not going to always come out perfectly. We loved your comments on Denise from previous videos, so we're just going to let her show finishing since she's better at it. And right here, this is where your friction line is, so I'm going to show you how you remove that. You can either just put your iron on it like that and it just comes off, or this one, the steam will get it off. And then this one, oh, we got some batting on here. It's okay. Oh, when we cut the batting, it kind of stuck to the board. We'll get it off later. But so this one, what Denise wants to do on this one is she's going to leave for the piece behind it a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch on each side. So 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inches. So that's going to mean that since we cut this board 5 inches, adding 1/2 plus 1/2 will give you 6 inches. So she's going to make this board 6 inches. So she has already cut her sticky board, and she's going to be using Chelsea's checks. And what's great about using this fabric is when Denise uses it, she can line up this with the line on the fabric so that it is nice and straight. Now, one thing I did want to point out is when we're using quilting fabric for our cross stitch, we never starch or wash or anything, because that will pull out it just is not needed. Let's just say that instead of, it just makes it easier to make sense, but it's just not needed. So she's gonna put this on with no batting, sticky side down on the fabric, and she lined up this or this, one of these sides. She does it a little bit different because she's left-handed, so I think you went from the other side, right? Oh, you did that, okay. And then she's gonna cut 1 inch around. And you could do 3/4 of an inch, you could do 2 inches, but we have tried a couple of different sizes and we find that 1 inch works better. So again, that first board was 5 inches, the second board is 6 inches. We are using the It's So Emma cross stitch finishing tape. It is double-sided. Just make sure whatever sticky board and sticky tape you use, that it is acid-free. And when you're in the craft store, it should say on there, acid-free. And then she's going to fold this down, and it's the same technique we used in our previous video. You put the sticky side down, and all the way, she's keeping it all the way to the edge. She's gonna do 2 sides first, then the remaining sides. And just take your time doing it, but I have found that using a plaid like she's using, or a plaid like this, you can see it's so easy to line up and get straight than just a regular polka dot fabric. So I think it actually comes out, it looks a lot more professional because it looks harder than it actually was, if that makes any sense. And this one, I did want to point out, we're doing the same exact fabric as our sample. So our sample here has these two fabrics, but we're changing the board on the back and we're making my bow pink. So there's lots of ways that you can customize your piece, because not only can you pick your fabrics for your cross stitch, your floss for your cross stitch, you can customize by what you finish it on, what finishing fabrics you use, and what bow you use, and covered button. And if you wanted to, you could just put one board on the back. You wouldn't have to do two. And like I said, we've done other tutorials where we have done the fox into a pillow. So kind of just think about what works best in your home. You know, sometimes people will do a lot of pillows and put them in a dough bowl. Or, you know, like just like a wooden bowl you get at, you know, a decorator store or something. Or they put them on the wall, or that's why we did this board so that it would clip in and you could do it either way. And we love that it's made in Austin. And so again, we have left 1/2 inch on all sides, and we're just, Denise is just doing all of this amazing, and she's gonna tuck these in. Now watch what she does with her stiletto. So she puts that stiletto in that corner, holds it, and pulls it back. And that, show them on the front, Denise, real quick. And that gives you that perfect square. And like, if you need it to be a little bit, you just kind of pinch it like she just did. So using the stiletto is not just for pulling the paper off. I think we used it and then we just kind of figured it out. But we'd love to see what you guys have as far as finishing tips. So it's looking so pretty, and the gray works really great with a lot of fabrics because it's very unisex. So we're just wrapping that fabric to the back using that stiletto in the corner. And one thing I did want to point out is Denise is using a lot of pressure. When you see her, she's really exerting a lot of pressure. She's pushing so that it gets really flat. Sometimes you have to be a little bit feisty and a little bit firm for it to work. And then she just looks at the edge, and those look perfect. So this is board 2. So again, board 1, 5 inches, board 2, 6 inches, board 7, board 3, 7. Okay, sorry, let's do that again. Okay, board 1, 5 inches, board 2, 6 inches, board 3, 7 inches, yay! Okay, so basically, we have it where we're gonna do this. Now, we are gonna hot glue this down, and Denise is gonna give you tips on how to do that. And I would say that using hot glue on this step is really good, because if you use sticky tape, it might shift more, and if you use, or fall off, or if you use E5000, it might just be a little bulky. So we have found that the hot glue gun works best. I would recommend a fine tip hot glue gun and one that gets hot. So like we talked about, this time we're doing 1/2 inch. Our previous video, we did 1/4 inch away. This one we're doing 1/2 inch. She's using that same technique, and she's putting the Creative Grids ruler, so it's 1/2 inch, and she's basically putting a dot. So this is 1/2 inch, this is 1/2 inch, and she's just putting a dot right there. And we can get that out with the iron in a little bit. So that makes it very like dummy proof, if that makes sense, instead of having to draw a line all the way around. And she just kind of eyeballs it. She's on her tippy toes so she can see all of the areas. She's gonna put glue on the piece that's cross stitched. Don't get the glue too close to the edge because it does ooze, but you do want to put some in the middle. When we first started doing finishing, we really didn't put a lot of glue in the center, and we found out that was not a good, so that's from trial and error. So she just lined up those 2 bottom points, the top 2. She's gonna do it real fast, and then she's gonna hammer it like with her hand down, like just hit it. That's what we do, we hit it. And then you can move to the next piece, or you could let that sit for 30 minutes to completely dry. Okay, Jordan thinks it's a little crooked. I think it looks good. It's good. He wanted me to move it a little bit. I saw the face. Okay, so now, again, this one is 1 inch bigger. So she's going to use that 1/2 inch mark and just put a dot. And it is best to do all the fabric pieces first and do your wood or your finishing last. I used to think you should start with the wood, but we think this works better. And so here, that same piece, she's going to start with that original piece. Eyeball it, put glue on it, and hammer it down. So we hope you enjoy Denise's tips. If you have any, we always are open to new ideas. You know, we've been doing this a long time, but it did take us a long time to come up with all of this. And we all obviously are very inspired by Priscilla and Chelsea and their finishing. So we want to give them a shout out because we couldn't do this without their inspiration. And this one was actually finished by Priscilla. So we're actually showing you Priscilla's idea. So you'll want to subscribe to Stitching with the Housewives. Now from here, you can see the little tiny dots. I'm going to get those out with the iron. This iron has a, sorry, that iron is like really loud. So that iron has steam that comes out. So that's why I used it, and it doesn't spit water. So be careful. If you're not using an iron like that, you can just like tap your iron. Or, you know, sometimes there's some little applique irons that are little tiny tip, and you could just use those. Now from here, she's going to put this on the board, which again, the board is called the Soft White Paddle Board, and it's painted, it's hand painted by the person who makes this, and we picked the paint color and everything. And you can either put magnets or you can use hot glue. We're using hot glue because this one is my piece, and we're going to display it at Fat Quarter Shop. And so if it has magnets, I don't want it to like get lost or, you know, anything like that. And since we have more releasing throughout the year, we thought it would be really cool. Oh, this is called the Soft White Scalloped Wooden Easel. Sorry, I said the wrong thing. And if you look, Priscilla used a gray bow. Denise thought mine needed to be pink, and we want you to watch our video called How to Make Bows with Priscilla and Chelsea from Stitching with the Housewives. So that is Priscilla and Chelsea's technique. We just followed that video, and what Denise is doing is making sure that each side is even. And so that's about 5/8 of an inch. Does that look about 5/8? Mm-hmm. And so she's just eyeballing it because she wants all 4 sides to be even. Now your piece might not be exactly where you would use 5/8. So just make sure you're using what you think is best. Now she's going to do the same thing on the wood. She's going to put little dots, and it's not going to hurt the wood. And to be honest, if you never took the dots off, I don't think anybody would know. The ribbon we're using on this one is 4 inches, and we will put, it's from Hobby Lobby, we'll put a note in the video of what it is. But basically she's putting everything, when she put this down, not only did she put this down, she also put this down so that she saw the placement before she did everything. And so now she's going to hot glue each piece down because now she likes the placement. And, you know, she's got her dots there. And she's having to put in a second glue stick. What is it? Is that a glue stick? Mm-hmm. Glue stick. Okay, so, and one thing is she's learned to be really fast with that glue gun because it dries. And so it's kind of a lot of pressure to do this on video. because you have to do it fast, and yeah, you have to like, she's on her tippy toes making sure it all matches. And this one, I really like how the whiteboard really is really white. It matches the fabric, but the Aida is pink because it really, that Aida really pops out. And she's really, with her fingers, she's pushing that down so that the glue that she put is like sticking down. You want to make sure you don't move it around or do anything crazy for 30 minutes. And then she's going to glue down the bow. So I think she's just winging the center. She's just kind of looking at it to make sure it's in the center. I mean, I don't think we need to use a ruler or anything. That is the 4th scallop in. So you've got 3 scallops on each side. She's going to put the glue on the actual bow. And she puts a lot of glue because we don't want the bow to come off. And we just put it there and let it sit. Now we're not going to move it. We're not going to fluff the bow. We're not going to do any of that because we really want it to just stay and be pretty. So give a huge shout out to Denise for doing this finishing tutorial with us. You can use it for all of the Simply Stamps series and anything else you want to see. And we're so excited that you watched today, and we will see you next week. So we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of videos from our Nashville Needlework Market, which were amazing. And we hope to see you next week. Bye. Hi, I'm Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop, and we have a brand new wooden needlework box that I'm going to show you today. I'm so excited about it, and I think you're going to love it. When you purchase the wooden needlework display box at Fat Quarter Shop, it comes with this free pattern folded within here. And we're going to be showing you how to finish this today. And basically, you're going to finish your cross stitch piece, and then you're going to finish a backing so it's nice and cute. And this is such a great box to put your cross stitch supplies next to you when you're stitching, or you could use it as a jewelry box. So for the stitching, if you look at this piece right here, this was stitched on Moonstone 28 count by Fiber on a Whim. This piece was stitched on 14 count Moonstone by Fiber on a Whim. So as long as you're using a 14 or 28 count, it's going to fit nicely in this box opening. And then also what you need for this is you need an 8 by 10 inch sticky board, and you need at least a fat 1/8 for this fabric that's going to go on the back. I recommend just pulling something from your stash that matches. And we also have a thread pack that goes with this, and we did stitch this using the classic Colorworks, but we also list DMC if you're interested in that. So now let me show you how to finish this cute box. So to start finishing, what you want to do is you want to take the opening of your box, and that is 7 1/8 by 3 1/8. Make sure you measure your box in case it's slightly different. So I'm going to write that down. So then we're going to take our sample piece and we're going to draw a line with the friction pin. It will disappear with heat later, but we want to draw it exactly where it's going to set in the box just to start. So I'm going to measure from the top to the bottom, and that comes out to 2 3/8. So I'm going to write that here. I'm going to measure the other side, 6 1/4. And I would make sure measure your piece, because my measurements when I stitch might come out slightly different from yours. And then you want to take the 3 1/8 minus the 2 3/8, and that's 0.75. Divide that by 2, and that's 3/8 of an inch. And I'm going to write that down. You're going to do 7 1/8, 6 1/4, divide by 2, 0.43. So what that means is we want to measure about 3/8 of an inch from the top of the long part, and we're going to draw a line with the friction pin. And again, this should be 3 1/8. So when I measure 3 1/8 here, it should be 3/8 of an inch from the edge, which luckily it is. Now here you want to be between 3/8 and 1/2 inch away from the edge. So just go to 1/2 inch and just go in slightly. And then again, this is supposed to be 7 1/8. Now from here, measure your squares and see from the very edge if it's the same number at the top and the bottom. So it's a little bit longer here. So what I want to do is I want to draw this line a little bit lower. So that is more accurate. So I'm going to go with the darker line. So that is centered really nicely. From here, you're going to draw a line 1/4 inch away from that outside line, the one that you went with. And this is going to be accounting for the lip that is inside the box. And then from here, you want to cut 1 inch away from this outside drawn line. Now you're going to take 2 sticky boards, you're going to cut them 3 3/4 by 7 5/8, both of them. And we came out with that math accounting for the fabric overlay that is going to go in here. This is where you need to measure your piece, and this is where you just need to trust our math. So now we're going to take a piece of batting and we're going to take a stiletto, pull this back piece off. And I use 80/20 batting. You can just use any type of batting you like. I just happen to like this stiffness. Now, of course, on the top, if you don't want batting on your fabric piece, you don't have to put batting on that piece. Okay, so from here, your sticky board that has the batting is going to be used with your stitched piece, and the sticky board without batting is going to be used with your quilting cotton fabric piece. So I'm going to show you the sticky board with the quilting cotton fabric first, and this one does have a directional line, and I think it's going to look really good like right here. You could also go this way, but you do have to make sure your lines match up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sticky piece off, pull my piece off, and I want about 1 inch around so I have some pieces that can fold back. So I'm going to put this, I can see the edge of these hearts right there, and I'm going to line that up straight with the top of those hearts so that I know that it is going to be straight on the other side. Then I'm going to trim right here, and this is just approximately 1 inch away from the edge. It doesn't have to be exact. And then you just want to make sure when you fold that over that it's straight on that directional piece, or you could use a non-directional piece and not have to worry about that. So from here, I'm going to use the It's So Emma finishing tape. I'm going to go edge to edge. I'm going to do the 2 long sides first. I'm going to use scissors that I use only for cross stitch finishing because these sticky tape will ruin your scissors. Peel this back. And then from here you want to pull this taut. Just stick down the edge. I'm pulling this taut, but I'm not pushing it all the way down. I'm just pushing it partially down in case I want to readjust. Okay, so that looks good. And then I'll push this all the way down. I'm going to use the finishing tape, and again, you're going to go all the way edge to edge. If you don't go all the way, it might not stick all the way down. And this piece is not as important because it's the inside of the box, so you're not going to see it as much. So if it's not as perfect, it's okay. And that's why we did this one first, because you can get your rhythm down before you do the piece on the top. And I don't want any of the finishing tape going off the edge, so. And sometimes the sticky tape doesn't want to come off, so sometimes you have to finagle a little bit. Now from here you want to treat this like a Christmas present. Fold a 45-degree triangle, pull back, do the same thing on the other side, pull it tight, do the same thing on the other side. You'll need to pull these on the edge a little bit further to account, and a little bit tighter to account for that fold. And then you just want to make sure it looks really nice and everything on the back, and it does. If there's a little bit extra room, just kind of finagle your fabric a little bit so that there's no fatness on your corners. And that's how you do the inside cover. And that is going to be going in the box like this. Now let's do the top that's going to cover that up. Now we've drawn all these fancy lines. That is to help you position it on your board. So here what I want to do is I want to be able to see this outside line from the back. So I'm just kind of making a little crease. Then I can see where that outside line is. Put your piece down, fold it over a little bit, make sure it looks like it's about even, Then you're gonna put your finishing tape on the back, and we're gonna be doing the same thing. This one will just take a little bit more work, making sure that your cross stitch is exactly centered. The good thing about this piece is you don't have to make your corners pretty because they're gonna be hidden within the box. So that's really nice. Now before I pull that over, I am gonna make sure it looks like it's a straight line on my Aida, and I'm just gonna put a little bit down, not the whole thing. Turn it over. Okay, so you can just count your lines here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once it's straight, just put this down, nice and flat. Do the same thing on the last 2 sides. And you're gonna do the same thing. Fold it in, pull it back, and I will clean this up in a little bit. And then you kind of just want to make sure it's centered. From there, I'm not even going to make these edges perfect because see, they're going to be hidden in here. So I'm just going to put this in here, pop it in, and with those measurements we gave you, it's going to stay. And then look at the front, and it looks great. I think it looks perfectly centered. From here, then I'm just going to use steam. I'm not going to touch the iron to the fabric. I'm just going to use steam to remove these lines really quick. So you have your front and your back done, and you want to stick these together. Now, obviously you don't have to stick them together, but I think it's important that you do. You can use hot glue or you can use the finishing tape. I'm going to use hot glue just because it's easier. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the hot glue on my cross stitch piece side. And then I'm just putting the hot glue. I'm not putting it too close to the edge because I don't want it to ooze out. So maybe half an inch around, and then some in the center. Press it down, let that dry, and then all you have to do is open this box, put this in, and it snaps right in. So the key to doing this is to trust us on the size to cut your sticky board, but just remember on that top piece, you do have to measure your opening just so it looks nice and centered. Super easy, and I hope you use this cute free pattern. I hope you enjoyed this finishing tutorial. Let me know in the comments what you're gonna store in your wooden needlework box that's available only at Fat Quarter Shop.
Today we're going to take the white Shabby Chic 4.5-inch square frame and the Blooming Roots cross stitch pattern. First, you'll measure the length and width of your frame opening. For this frame, it is 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. Now we're going to center our stitch within the 4 1/8 measurement. You're going to take your ruler and put it to the farthest stitch on the right. Count how many empty stitches until you reach 4 1/8. In this instance, we have 15 open stitches. You're gonna take the 15 stitches, divide it by 2, so you'll have 7 stitches to the left and 8 stitches to the right. Draw with a friction pin. At this point, double check to make sure your drawn lines fit at 4 1/8. We'll do the same thing for the top and the bottom. Take your ruler, place it at the furthest stitch, and then now count your open stitches until you reach 4 1/8. In this instance, we had 7 empty stitches. Divide that number by 2, and with the friction pin, mark 3 stitches from the top and then 4 stitches from the bottom. Now take your frame and place it over your stitch piece to make sure it's centered. Once you like how it looks, take your rotary cutter and we are going to trim 1 inch away from the drawn line. This will provide a margin for later. Now you'll take your frame and measure the length and the width of the opening on the back of your frame. In this instance, it was 4 1/2. Using your ruler, center your drawn friction lines within that 4 1/2-inch square. Your first set of friction lines notate what's visible through the frame. The lines that you are drawing now are to ensure that you have extra fabric so that your piece does not fall through the opening of your frame. Fold back your extra fabric on the furthest drawn line. You'll want to use a quick press seam roller to get those crisp lines without using an iron so that your friction pins don't erase with the heat. You'll do this on all 4 sides. Once you've folded all the extra fabric, you'll want to bring your frame back in and place your piece to make sure that it does not fall through the opening. Once it looks correct, you can use your iron to remove the friction lines as well as make your edges crisp. Place it in your frame. Now it's time to add your batting. We're using a 4.5-inch square of Soft and Stable. You can use 1 square if you don't want it too fluffy, or you can use 2 if you want your stitches to pop out more. Once you have everything within your frame, you can now wiggle it to make sure it is centered and straight. Now you can add your easel back. The frame has grooves where you can rest the easel back in, but the more Soft and Stable you use, you will have to push down so that you can latch your frame in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next finishing tutorial.
Hey guys, I'm Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop, and today we're going to talk about using our brand new sticky circles and show you how you can finish your cross stitch using the circle method that we're going to show you. So let's get started. So these are the supplies that you're going to need. You're going to need your cross-stitched piece, and today what we did was we stitched the Santa from the Vintage Christmas Sampler by Lori Holt using the called for floss. So you're going to need your piece. Now our sticky circles we have right now are 2 5/8 inches wide. We are going to have some future sizes, so you can look forward to that. And we're going to use batting behind our piece on top of the sticky board. We're going to be finishing on our brand new Tart tins. They come in a package of 6, and you'll need a marking pen, scissors, hot glue gun, and when we cinch around the circle, we're just going to use the same needle we used when we stitched and just leftover floss. So all you really need are these basic sewing supplies. So your first step is to take your piece, and I'm going to put it on the wrong side, and I'm using a friction pen. It will disappear with heat later, so you can draw, and then if you need to redraw, you can just iron it and then redraw. And what I want to do is center the Santa, and it doesn't have to be exact, because when we do the final method, we are going to be able to adjust it slightly, and you'll see that in a little bit. So this is about the center. I'm just eyeballing it. I don't think it has to be too exact, because like I said, when we get to the end, you can move stuff around. So that looks really good. And what I'm going to do now is take my sticky board sticky circle and take off the little paper part, and that's the sticky side. Put it on your batting, and you want your batting to be nice and flat, so just kind of ease it in so you don't have any bumps. Trim around the edge, and this batting is just plain 80/20 batting, but you can use any batting. This is kind of a low loft, so it's not too fat. And then what you're going to do is we're going to be putting that here, drawing some stitches, and cinching it closed. But before we do that, what I want to do is have about 1 inch around the circle to work with. You're going to just eyeball it and cut about 1 inch away from that drawn circle. And you'll see in the next step, you just need enough to be able to put some running stitches in there. So now we're going to do our running stitch. So from here, we have cut a 48-inch piece of embroidery floss. You can use any color, and we're just using leftover floss from what we used to stitch this. Put your 2 strands together, join them, and you're going to have a loop on the left end, and you're going to thread your needle. We're using a size 26 because that's what we use with our project. You could also use a size 24 needle, which is a little bit fatter. So you can do it any way. I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'm going to attach it using the loop method. So I'm just going to put a little piece there. The loop comes, put your thread in the loop, and what we're going to do is a running stitch about 1/2 inch away from the edge. You don't want to be too close, because if you want to adjust, you might start seeing your stitches. So you're going to do about 1 inch. So like kind of a bigger stitch, and just kind of do this all the way around. So like I said, not too close to the circle, not too far away, and just make them consistent so that when you cinch it together, there's some consistency. So you're going to see it starts kind of cinching together, and I'm going to go all the way to where I started. Put my center in with your batting right on that circle, and then you're going to pull and cinch it. Now you're going to have room to adjust it. So you've got that nice and tight, and it actually looks pretty good. It looks centered. I think I've done enough of these now to where I can really center it. So you just want it to be nice and tight. You can adjust it if you need to. So from here, to keep it in place, I'm gonna go across. It's kind of like lacing. So just go across and just pull taut. Then you can go across the other way. Just want it to be nice and secure. You can do as little or as much of this as you want. So from here, what you can do is just leave it just like this if you feel that it's secure enough. And you'll just do a little knot here and then cut that thread off. And then what you can do here is, if you feel like it's not secure enough, we can do some hot glue. So I can show you what to do with the hot glue. I actually prefer to not use hot glue, but I know some of you are going to want to use it. So from here, what you can do is, if you feel like it's not curved exactly, mine came out pretty good, and I think it came out good because my stitches were consistent across. But if it's not, what you can do is just use a hot glue gun and then put some glue in there and then just pull it. And that'll get it flatter for you. If you want to use hot glue, that's totally optional. So now I'm going to show you a couple of finishing options. We had the Tart tin ornaments made, and they come in a package of 6 at Fat Quarter Shop. And we thought they would be really cute, all finished up. So if you want them to look like these, and these pieces are also from Lori Holt's Vintage Christmas pattern, what you're going to do is hot glue your circle into your Tart tin. And what we have found works best is not to hot glue this part, but to hot glue here. And if you put the hot glue too close to the edge, it's going to gum up and you're going to see it. So what we found is, if you just put it in the center and just put your Santa where he's centered with their little cord right here. And then what I like to do is make sure it's nice and secure. And what you can do is put something heavy on it just to keep it weighed down. And you can see how cute these look. And these are just stitched with DMC, and the fabric we stitched on is 25 count oatmeal by Lori Holt. Another thing that's super cute is you can just take a mason jar, and we had these fit a mason jar exactly. So what you can do is just place it here, or you can hot glue it if you want to. And we will have lots more sizes coming out of these sticky circles. We hope you decorate your Christmas tree using our brand new sticky circles and our Tart tins. They're so cute, and we hope you love them as much as we do. I'm Kimberly Jolly from Fat Quarter Shop FlossTube, and you can join me every Wednesday for a FlossTube. See you there. Good morning. It's April 30th, 2025, and I'm Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop. And today we are doing a cross stitch finishing tutorial, and we're doing it live, so there might be some bloopers. But thank you to Denise, who has put all of this together. And so I'm going to show you what we're working on. So today we are going to take the monthly mini village series that I have stitched. These are by Country Cottage Needlework. So this is the different months I've stitched. I changed a couple of colors here. And then I have started June, but I haven't gotten that far. And then we got this beautiful display piece from Paisleys and Polka Dots. And when you buy it, it comes unpainted, so you just paint it. And so Jordan's gonna pop up the piece that she has on her website. And if you look at the very back piece, there's two pinks, like a pink polka dot and a pink floral. That's what we're going to be doing today. The red backer piece we are not doing. And the reason why is the one that's pieced on the photo is 16 count. I stitch on 14 count, so my piece is a little bit bigger. So we're going to be using that as inspiration, giving her credit, and just doing it a little bit different. So what you need is your cross stitch piece. I stitched this on Beautiful Beige 14 count. I used Called For Classic Colorworks. The only month that I changed it a little bit was March, but I did use colors from other months, so I didn't have to buy anything. This is the Rooftop Row Cross Stitch Display by Paisleys and Polka Dots. We're going to be using this fat quarter bundle. It was in my office, so we already had it. This is not starched or anything. This is the Prim Fat Quarter Bundle by Lori Holt. And it just has a lot of colors, so we just pulled it off the shelf, and that's what we're going to use. You obviously don't need a fat quarter bundle this big. We just wanted enough variety. You need a 9 by 12 inch sticky board, and you're going to need 12 of these total, one for each month. We're using cross stitch finishing tape by It's So Emma. And then Denise has all her supplies here. So, bless you, we have friction pin. We have this new Tim Holtz retractable craft pick. We'll show you how to use it. We have a glue gun to the side, and we have some batting too. And then magnets and washers. So we'll show you those in a little bit. But that's your basic supplies. And so first we're going to pick out the fabric. Is that what you want me to do first? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is fun. I'm going to lay these out, and we're going to pick our 2 fabrics that we use each month. And then we're going to label them so that that's already done. So when Denise goes to finish, it's done, and then it'll kind of show you how we pick fabric. And we usually do it together. I usually don't do it by myself.
Now, granted, I've already picked January for
Okay,
you,
let me see
so.
January. Okay, so she says she's already picked January. Okay, here we go. I can move that.
This one.
Oh, that's perfect match.
And those 2.
Wow, that's a perfect match. Okay, and then February, we have. Okay. Oh my word. Let's see. Okay, so these 2. I feel like those 2 would look good.
Yeah.
That is acid-free tape, yes. It's so and so we're just picking 2 fabrics, and then we have these
Fabric label sticker packs.
fabric label sticker packs we just got, and so they're like washi tape where they don't leave a residue at all on your fabric. And so she's marking them so that when she goes to finish, it's just super easy to finish. Okay, so now we have February. Oh, and what it says on there, it has a designer, and then she put February monthly mini village, February monthly mini village, the size, and it says it's not starched and not pre-washed. And that's totally, it's really more, I don't like that one. It's more of a, okay, so out of these 3, I would do those
2 because
Yeah.
of the contrast.
Okay, so those 2. And so you could just, you definitely don't have to buy a fat quarter bundle to do this. We just, for video, it's just easier to pick something that we know has a lot of colors, and the Prim collection by Lori has a lot of colors. And then,
Are you gonna ever use brown?
I don't know that I'm gonna use brown. Yeah, that's a good point. So I don't know if we're gonna use these or not. Ooh, this one's gonna be hard. Yeah, this one's gonna be hard. Ooh. Those 2?
For which one?
April. No?
I like it better for May.
For May?
Yeah, because there's less like blue in May.
I know, I don't know what to do here because these 2, that looks too, I don't like that one. These 2, that don't match.
Mm-mm.
Let me see yellow.
Yellow's dark and maybe not. if you did like
Oh,
a lighter
pink.
pink?
Yeah, that pink is good.
And like maybe the gingham.
I think that looks good. Yeah, I think that looks good. And then we can save the yellow for like October, November, right? Do you think that looks good? Okay, everybody comment and let me know, what do you think? It looks good. And then basically as we go, we're gonna stitch the two pieces together and we'll show you the sizes and everything. But yeah.
Mark them. Jordan, will you put chat open?
Oh yeah, and thank you to Louise Doust for the super chat. We received the stickers in the Sew Sampler box. I can't wait to use mine. Yeah, we worked on these for a really long time, and really what we wanted was something that would stay on, but that wouldn't pull any of the fabric. So, I love these tutorials, but many times I do my own style of finishing. Okay, so we're gonna move everything. I'm gonna move these out of the way for Denise, and then we're gonna focus on January. And then obviously, you know, when I stitch the others, we'll pick the fabrics, but there's no reason to pick them now since I don't even have them. And I usually just leave these on a big design board and just keep them flat.
I was reading the comments of the colors.
Oh
Yellow.
yeah, April pinker. Pale grief for April. Okay. So this is what she's gonna do first is she's gonna measure the mountable section on this cross stitch display.
Okay, so it's 10 1/4 by, let me do it this way, 4 1/2. Okay, so we'll cut our sticky board with the quilting fabric that size. Now granted, I'm sure each board may be a little bit different, but ours is 10 1/4 by 4 1/2.
Jennifer has a great comment. She said those stickers would be a good idea for labeling leftover cross-stitch fabric. That's a great idea. For me, I don't need it since I just use the same old stuff over and over. But that'd be great for somebody like Cheryl. Now, just so you guys know, Denise is left-handed. So if it looks backwards, it's because she's left-handed and I'm right-handed. So obviously it looks different. They said February needs a relook on fabric. We'll look at it at the end. So she's cutting this 10 1/4 by 4 1/2 inches. And then obviously if it doesn't fit or something, you just adjust it. And then we're gonna be doing this 12 times. So because we're doing it 12 times, we're keeping everything written down so that when she does it each time, we don't have to remeasure, if that makes sense. So really, Denise could just cut all of these all at one time if she wanted to. There's not enough to do two though, right?
No, one sticky board will get you one piece. So it'll get you your backer and then your stitch piece.
Oh, okay. So you'll need 12.
Correct.
So she's just writing down what she's cut her size to, which was 4 1/2 by 10 1/4. We always recognize Denise by her hands. Should we do it a little bit shorter so that it doesn't, so if it comes off?
Yeah, we can.
Okay,
like
we're gonna cut it
off
an eighth. We're gonna cut an eighth off so it doesn't go off the edge. Do we use a special rotary cutter for the sticky board? So we use the leftover blades when I'm done with them from quilting. And the rotary cutter is has a note on it, right? Or it just goes in her section.
Yeah, it just goes in mine.
But at home, what I would do is just put like an X on the back side. But here we have two different tables, but yeah, we definitely don't use the same ones. I need to learn to write stuff down versus going with, oh, I will remember.
Like that?
Yeah, that looks good. And this frame is from Paisleys and Polka Dots. We don't sell the frame. And then we didn't, for quilting, we starch our fabric, but on this one, we did not starch our fabric. There's really no reason to.
I find when I use starch fabric, like the stash from Teresa, it's very hard to stick on the sticky board.
Okay, because it won't like bend as much.
I take it you want me to iron these.
Oh, here, you want me to go iron them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you gonna go to ironing?
It's funny ironing on fabric that is not starched because it moves around. And then fabrics like these, sometimes when I'm quilting, they drive me crazy because, if I cut it off, a little bit off it. I think these kind of fabrics are good and bad for quilting because first, if you're doing it on the straight, you have to be exact. But then if you're doing it on the diagonal, then you get like a second kind of look, like a second piece of fabric. Did Jordan ever finish this Halloween cross stitch?
That's not on.
What did he say?
That's not on the mic.
Oh, sorry. He said the microphone's not on, sorry. Did Jordan ever finish his Halloween cross stitch he started?
Sort of. I just have to do the clouds behind, like the back.
Okay, that means no. That means no, Jordan.
Okay, I'm just gonna straighten first.
So she's cutting across the opposite edge, the same, basically parallel to selvage.
Okay, now I need to think how I did the math. Okay, so if we're putting two pieces. Yes. So we're gonna cut each fat quarter to be 13 inches by 4 inches. That will allot the margin that we wrap over.
4 inches, it's 4¼
But we're sewing two pieces together.
Okay. So 4 inches by
13.
13, 4 by 13.
It gives us just enough wiggle room.
Without waste.
I try not to waste.
Yeah,
as
Denise
much.
is really good about not wasting fabric. I am not as good at that. Do you want me to sew those together?
Where's the cut? Oh, right there.
You want me to sew? Okay.
Please. You can do your 1/4 inch.
Okay. So I'm sewing with the 1/4 inch seam. Press open or one side?
Open.
Is it good?
Yes. Jordan, will you pop up the original photo, please? Okay, so on her backer board, she sewed, which I'm assuming 2 pieces together. So, so on our piece, we cut our board 10 1/4. Yeah, you're done with the pop-up.
Okay.
10 1/4 by 4.5. So essentially this seam will line up like right in the center, and then we have enough to wrap it on the back end. Now I just need to figure out how to center this seam here. Well, no, on this piece, because this is dead center. 4.5 divided by 2.
2
2
1/4.
Let me do it. If I'm putting it this way. Yes. Okay, thank you. 2 1/4.
Yeah, so she's just marking. You can use any kind of pin on this. It doesn't matter because you're going to cover it up. And then, I don't know, I think me and Denise need to have like a finishing session where we just finish everything all at once. We have like a pile that's piling up.
So now I'm going to use these marks to line it up
with
the seam. It's easier if you press open just because you're going to have bulk in one area if you press to a side.
So this is that thing I was telling you. It's called the Tim Holtz
retractable craft pick.
And it's a little bit, the stick is a little bit thicker than the By Annie stiletto that we were using. So it's like a little bit sturdier, and I think it's a little bit less expensive.
Well, it's also not a hazard because you can retract it.
Okay.
And then, okay, that's pretty centered.
Yeah, looks good.
From here, you can trim an inch away from your sticky board just so you have less bulk. Sometimes I do 1.5 inches, depending on how big the backer is.
Yeah, it is centered.
No, sample.
Oh, the sample. Yeah, the sample wasn't centered. That the picture Jordan showed, but we're just going to do our centered. That way we don't have to think about which one is more dominant and which one is less. We're just using it as an inspiration. And then she's just trimming 1 inch away.
This is the one thing.
And the reason the blade is doing that is because she uses this blade to do the sticky board, and so it just dulls it. But we don't like to replace it because it's just a waste of money. And then when you're doing cross stitch finishing, I would just use the cheapest rotary blade you can find. I wouldn't invest in anything expensive.
Okay.
And so this is the It's So double-sided finishing tape. I think there's several brands of this. And she's just gonna put that on the top and the bottom, fold it over, and then do the sides. Would word swap fit on this? I don't think so, but
no, word swap's too long.
it's too long, but let me look.
Kimberly, I assumed you didn't want batting on your fabric piece. You can put batting if you want more of a puffy look for your quilting fabric piece, but usually I don't.
Yeah, it would be way too long. What?
Yeah.
So, like, if you wanted to just do one side of the.
I am trying to line up this line to the edge of the board because that will drive me nuts if it's not straight.
She'll see it from across the room too. I mean, I think there's just some people who I think that would be all three of us in the room would be similar in that fashion. And then ours is going to be a little bit different because ours is 14 count and we're not doing that red backer. So it is going to be different. We're just using it. We're just using it as inspiration. The word swap would not fit if it was smaller count. I think you'd have to just take off the left or right end. But I mean, you could contact her. Maybe she'd make one for the word swap. I don't know that we've decided how we're going to finish our word swap, have we?
Word swap, yes, it's on that Hobby Lobby
Oh.
piece.
Oh, that's right, the wooden Hobby Lobby
The only one we haven't decided yet is the
house.
one that you're doing, the two browns.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Dee
Good
says,
old days.
Yeah. Dee says, I appreciate seeing this done step by step as I need all the help I can get. I wondered about the print direction, if it would make me bonkers too from across the room. And then I would just say, take your time, you know, don't rush. If you rush, it's just gonna be harder to do. And I'm so thankful that Denise knows how to do this, because I definitely could do it, but I just feel like doing it and like trying to talk and do it at the same time is just too much. And we usually do is it right that we usually do the longest sides first and then the shorter sides second?
Mm-hmm. Yes. The more fabric I can get out of my way.
Can I adopt Denise? I have several young women who have asked me to adopt them. I know, it's like, could we just loan out somebody for a day to just, yeah, I feel that. First, you'd have to adopt her first from Jordan, and then from me, and then from her mom, and then from her sister. You probably have to get in line. She did she did something. She finished for Emma's dance show. You have to do this huge, gigantic board, and I didn't know how to do it. Well, and I also took my kids to WrestleMania, and so I didn't have time, and so she did it for me, thank goodness. And everybody was like, Emma's is the best. Emma, did you do it? Everybody was complimenting Emma. She's like, no.
Jordan,
no.
will you zoom in, please? Okay. For the corners, rather than go full, I don't know what degree that is, I go like halfway to that. For some reason, with doing it that way, it helps with the bulk here, because that extra fabric like isn't folding over.
Kay says she can share. That's funny. Jordan says he can't. Rotary blades. What do you want to know? Oh, what rotary blades do we use? We just use we just buy the Alpha 45 degree or 45 millimeter, just because that's what we usually use. But I would just get some off, this sounds horrible, but I would just get some off Amazon that are super cheap. Like, I don't even, like the ones that we wouldn't even sell because they're not great. I just wouldn't invest the money in it.
Also, for the sticky board, I always cut mine on the non-sticky side. I find it easier than if I cut on this side. Why, I don't know. I feel like here I'm going through more tape than this side.
Melanie says, great corner tip. And so she does each corner, and then she kind of eases the middle in. I think it would be funny if, like, the three of us just sat and just finished stuff all day and just recorded it. It would be hilarious. Jordan would be micromanaging us. It's not straight, it's not straight. That would be a good video.
Okay.
Oh, she says the angle is 22 degrees. I don't even know what a 45 degree is, so thank you very much.
Okay. Does it matter for you, Kimberly, which is top and which is bottom?
Well, let's look and see. But I think the dark would be better on the top. Like, put the piece on it.
I probably should cut this piece down.
Yeah, I think that looks better. Do you,
Yeah.
Jordan? Yeah.
This
Oh,
one's
yeah.
too busy?
Yeah, Jordan said the bottom is too busy to be on top.
Ooh, that is a snug fit.
I think it's good. I like it.
Okay. I'll set that to the side.
And then we're gonna move to wrapping the cross stitch piece, and she's using the other half of the sticky board that she started
This
with.
one here. Okay, so let me measure. Kimberly, this is where I'll need
Okay,
a decision from you.
okay. So she's measuring stitch to stitch.
9 inches.
Do you want me to write it down?
Yeah, your handwriting is probably better than mine. And I will measure each one of her pieces just in case. So in February, I will use what Kimberly's writing down as a reference, but then I'll still measure just in case.
Jordan wants you to tell them why. Well, what if,
Fabric will be different.
Well, even though she's stitching on 14 count, depending if she like stretched too tight or if
I'm in a different kind of mood,
one stitch is.
or if the package comes a little bit different. You never know with cross stitch.
I've gotten burned too many times for not measuring.
Well, one time Cheryl stitched something and I stitched something, and
Three
it was-
quarters.
it was
3 3/4. Sorry.
it was different. So I think it's how you hold the fabric. So I just wrote down 3 3/4 by 9.
Actually, 3 1/4. My bad.
Oh,
Let me double check. Yes, 3 1/4.
okay.
Okay. So on this piece, on your fabric board, how much of this do you want shown? A 1/4, 3/8, or a 1/2 inch? So that will determine your border here.
I think
So the more margin you want shown here, the tighter.
we should do 3/8.
Okay.
Do you think?
That's what I was originally when I mocked it up that I went with. So Jordan, will you scroll down for my measurements? Because I did it. Yeah. So for 3/8, your piece here needs to measure 9 1/2 by 3 3/4 to fit perfectly on this board.
And that's exactly 1/2 inch bigger than the, basically that gives a 1/4 inch on all sides,
Yes.
doesn't it? Yeah, it does.
Yes.
I think it gives
yes.
3/8 on the inside.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So add.
Because it was 9 originally.
I think paisley and polka dot, this is from Claire. I think paisleys and polka dots makes a larger version which might fit word swap. Yeah, y'all should email her and ask. The tiny town patterns I don't think would fit because those are super long and they're much skinnier. And I'm sure, you know, I don't know the lady that owns paisleys and polka dots, but I'm sure if you emailed her and just said, you know, hey, I'm looking for something like this, I'm sure she makes a lot of her pieces for, you know, pieces. I'm sure she made this one. I mean, she made this one for the country cottage pattern. So you're marking how many stitches outside?
3 stitches. I know that on 14 count, 3 stitches is a 1/4 inch. Now, for 16 count, I would need to use a ruler. I just finish a lot on 14 count. That 3 stitches is a 1/4. And I go from the furthest stitch. 1, 2, 3.
Have you guys been stitching a lot? I am like super behind. I have not stitched in like 2 weeks. Emma had her final dance show. Christopher had 4 basketball games, and then something else happened this weekend. And then yesterday, well, Monday, Peyton broke his finger. So it's lovely at the Jolly House right now. We've never had a kid. Well, we've had lots of surgeries that I haven't talked about on camera. This one, he doesn't care if I talk about. Some they don't want me to talk about, but this one, he didn't even tell me he hurt his finger. So we have appointment Friday. We got it x-rayed, but we have an appointment with whatever. I don't know if he's gonna need surgery or what, I don't know. Kevin doesn't think so. Kevin thinks it'll just be, you just put it in a sling. I don't know. Oh, Carlene says Paisleys and Polka Dots has a design for Tiny Town. It just looks like a mini village, but longer. And the reason she knows about the 14 count is most of what I stitch is on 14 count, and I honestly just use, most of the time, I use whitewash board, pale gray gingham, or beautiful beige. That's pretty much what I use. And then she's using a friction pin that will disappear with heat later. You know, you could use any kind of marking pen. I would encourage you to use something that disappears so that you don't have pencil lines.
What did I say? 9.5 by 3 3/4. Okay. Yes.
We recently used these two pens in a video that are different than friction pens. So this is a white marking pen, and then this is like a clover something. It does that. Anyway, we've used those. What's it called?
I'm just saying it's for darker fabric.
Oh, it's for darker fabric, but I mean, you could use it. If you don't want to use friction pen. A lot of people don't like friction pen. Oh, Amanda says good morning. Oh, we were just talking about you, Amanda. Somebody wants to adopt Denise, and I said first they have to get in line behind Jordan, me, you, and your mom. But I would come last. Wait, are you looking for the...
Oh yeah, it's right here. Okay, so I'm gonna trim, same thing, 1 inch from the drawn line, just to get rid of all this bulk and the extra fabric Kimberly left me.
1 inch, right?
1 inch, yes. Sometimes I find her needles
Oh,
in here.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. I find them on my floor. That's the bad thing. That's probably the only thing that Kevin gets really mad at me. He's like, these needles are all over the place. I'm like, don't come over here. It's my area. Stay in your side of the bed, your side of the room. And I usually do my, when I'm cutting my fabric, I just kind of take the piece and I'll just divide it in half or quarters. And so sometimes I have more fabric, sometimes I have less. I don't do like an exact science. Like I don't cut it, you know, exact. I don't know if that makes sense, but I just kind of cut it for, okay, so what are you cutting there?
I'm cutting the 9.5 by 3 3/4, what will
Okay.
fit
That piece.
this piece in here.
Okay. And with the sticky board, you really have, like y'all didn't see it because you're not standing next to Denise, but you really have to like push. Like you have to really, because it's so thick, you have to like really, I don't know, stand on your tippy toes and push that fabric down. Or the board. That's her workout.
Yes, you do have to put your full body weight into it.
A needle was on the back of my phone case this morning. The case has a magnetic charger on it. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That's what I should use for my, what do you call it? That's what I should use for my needle minder. So this, we just use 80-20 batting. You can use any batting you want. The 80-20 is a little bit thicker than the cotton, but much less thinner than polyester. So that's what we use on all our cross stitch, but it's totally optional what you want to use. And she's doing this on the piece that's going to go on the cross stitch piece just so it's not as stiff. Husband's a wonderful thing for finding lost needles and pin. They have to go barefoot too. Yeah. Oh, and then I ordered some furniture, but I didn't tell Kevin because I was hoping that where I ordered it from was going to put it together, and they didn't. They just dropped it off. So then I was like, Kevin, I have this piece of furniture. And so anyway, I think he was just like, oh my God, why are you buying this furniture? A lot of times I try to buy things and sneak them in and hope he'll never notice. I mean, I know that like all of us do that, so I'm not even going to pretend I don't. He's like, where is this going to go? Same batting for quilting. That's actually the batting that I use for my quilting too. Isn't it? I think that's what I use all the time. I think so. Yeah.
So instead of, since I'm putting this on the back, I can't see my lines. So instead of drawing another set of lines, I use a quick press seam roller to give me that crease. And I just fold it back on the lines.
Okay, y'all, that's genius.
And since Kimberly likes a stiff fabric, it stays.
That's genius. Jordan, can you link to the sticky backer board she used? He said yes. Let's see, Jennifer says the Tim Holtz rotary trimmer cut sticky board, it's great, but you do have to push a bit. I like it better than the handheld rotary. And the size of sticky board she's using is 9 by 12 today. Dee asked, does it matter what color it is? But we just use the natural. Even when I'm finishing the stuff that Denise. When Denise is finishing all of my stuff that has black, chalkboard black, she uses the natural. Denise has the best tips. Yeah, I've never seen you do that. Is that new tip?
Yeah, I actually started, I think, end of last year when I had to finish a lot of the pieces, and I didn't want to spend time drawing lines on the back.
Yeah, that's a good tip. When Denise is measuring, does she use the bottom line of the ruler?
Yes.
Yeah, I think she's just using the line on the ruler. I don't know how to answer that. And then
I don't know if
What did you use?
80/20.
he used the
I did the 10 by
10 by
10.
10. This is what she used. And we just have I think we have a couple of packages up here. We like it, the 10 by 10, because then you don't have to cut the big old piece down and then have to manage it all over the place. And most of the stuff I order.
10 squares, 12 pack.
Yeah.
Yes. And here I'm not pressing all the way down, just, I don't know if you can see, just a little bit.
A little bit.
And I'll do the other side exactly like that, just to make sure the stitch piece comes out straight.
Like if it's not straight, it's easy for her to undo it because she didn't stick it all the way down. Roxy says you're easy to follow.
Thank you. Also, these scissors only used for sticky tape. Do not recommend using it for your stitch piece.
Kevin tried to use the stitch. So yesterday when he was having to put that furniture, well, it was just the furniture that just came out of the box. Like you just put it on the ground. You don't have to assemble it. He was trying to use my scissors and I was like, no. He's like, yeah. I'm like, no, you're gonna ruin my scissors. I had to run to the kitchen. These were so fun to stitch. Have you guys stitched this series? I really like this one. I have to start June, and then I need to start, I have like 3 things on my list that I need to start. And I think it's just gonna take, basically what I do if I get behind, like I'm super behind right now, I'll just sit down one day and just knock a bunch of it out all in one day. Just,
Also, when I'm lining this up, I do bring the stitch piece close to my face because I am trying to make sure this, Jordan, can you zoom in, that this whole entire stitch or this line, this Ada weave, falls in the exact same spot across the entire length. And it'll, if the piece ended up coming out crooked, like when ironing or stitching or anything like that, I don't fix the stretching during the ironing, I fix it here. Okay. See? And then I'll give it that firm press.
and she also did the long sides first, and then she'll do the short sides, short sides.
And then I'll come double check here.
There's some kind of noise. I'm trying to figure out what it is. It must be raining outside. Did y'all hear that?
I just heard Jordan open up his snack.
Oh no, I hear something on the roof. And then we'll have to see how Denise does her corners on this one, if she does that same little technique. And you know, a lot of what we learned, you know, Priscilla came and taught us. So a lot of this, you know, we owe to other people who taught us how to do all this stuff. Kay just finished May. Judy said she loves the colors for January.
I do put more friction when I'm putting sticky tape on another piece of fabric, just because it's
Peels.
like harder for the sticky tape to stick onto fabric versus the board. Also, if you're using starched fabric, sticky tape is hard for it to stick to it. Very hard.
For what to stick to?
Starched.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So for like the mystery stitch alongs, when I finish them, I use the leftover fabric that we use for filming. So it's starched. So I put a little bit more sticky tape on just for security. Corners, I do the same way. I just give it more of a press, just because the fabric is stiffer, and I give it more of a pull because the fabric is hard.
Yeah, and the fabric that I use is always super stiff. So like if she was finishing something maybe Cheryl made, it probably would be a little bit easier because, well, it might be easier, but it also might be harder because when it's stiff, it keeps it very straight, but then it's harder to pull it to the back. But if it's not as stiff, it's harder to get pretty on the front, but easier to do on the back. Is that right? Yeah.
It's easier to physically manage, but yeah, it's very hard to straighten it.
And then Denise has like a little setup here where like just all the cross stitch finishing stuff is, so that we don't mix up. Like she has this whole thing, and then, you know, all her little stuff, so that we don't mix up the rotary cutters and all that stuff. And then, you know, it's just used for finishing, which I know is like, you know, basically impossible for most people to do. It just makes it easy for us. Angela says she loves watching you finish. And then Shelly says there's severe weather in Dallas-Fort Worth. Oh no. I've been to Dallas so many times lately. I think I might eventually know the roads. I get so lost. C Card says she's also behind on her projects. I'm just one of those people that if I get behind, I get frustrated, and then I just like, I don't know, I just don't do it, and then one day I'll just knock it all out.
Yay.
That looks really good.
Would you like to iron
Okay.
the lines, please?
So on this,
You're
yeah, I
on.
know, but I'm gonna, because he told me the microphone's on. So I'm gonna actually, when I go to the, because the microphone's not on over there, I'm actually gonna touch the iron to it, but my iron is so hot that I could just steam it. So it depends what kind of iron you have. Oh, it's on now. So there, let's see. Yep, the lines are gone.
I just want to clean a little bit.
Okay. And we do keep a stash of quilting fabric here. So like, because we cut into that, we obviously can't sell it or do anything else with it. So we just keep like a big stash of fabric. So you'll probably see something finished with that later. Oh, Ronnie wants to know, would it help to clip away some of your bulk when you turn the flap over to the sticky side.
You can. Just be careful how much you clip. One time I clipped too close and the weave started like opening and I like got a hole like right here. So you can. I just am not that.
Risky.
No. Okay. So it'll go
Oh, that looks so good.
like that. Our margin though was 3/8 of an inch is where this will rest. So I'll get a smaller ruler because I'm a perfectionist.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna mark it?
I'm gonna
you're gonna
mark
mark the corners.
The corners with a little dot. You could eyeball it because I see these displayed.
We should do a personality test, me, you, and Jordan, and I bet we would all come out the same.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like our personality, like, you know how they have those, yeah, I think we would all come out exactly the same. I worked in a garment factory for years, so I apply the same mindset with my cross stitch and quilting and work a full season ahead. Oh, wow. I'm like a year behind because I'm always on the current month, and so then I can't even use it till the next year.
Oh, because we trimmed off 1/8. I was like, why is it off? But because we cut it down
yeah.
to,
I think it's fine.
it's fine.
I think it looks good. So I had her
There.
trim 1/8 off of 1 inch so it wouldn't go off the side. So it's a little bit thicker up here than here, and that's totally
I
fine.
mean, probably by what, like
I wouldn't have even
an
noticed.
1/16 of an inch. Okay, I'm gonna leave it like this because I've already flipped the fabrics by accident.
Do you want me to pull that?
I think I can.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, I have room. Okay. I don't think that'll. Well, I have to let it warm up a little bit. It went to sleep.
Pop this over here.
Yeah. We're actually almost done.
Oh. Seeing is believing for sure. Invaluable finishing demo. Great fabric choices. Yeah, Denise picked the collection to go with. Glue guns are like, I don't know, I'm so scared of them.
This is my whole stack.
Oh my gosh, these are the glue sticks?
Yeah.
Thimble?
No.
No, he said no. She said no.
I'll risk it. That one I will.
What does the thimble do, Jordan? Oh, protect you from burning yourself. Yeah, you should use your thimble. Do you want me to get it? She's like, no.
The glue gun has a auto shut off. So while we were doing the tutorial, it turned off. So I just have to wait for it to warm up.
My husband and I have a personality profiling program. We do it for free. Then he would call you and tell you about yourself and how you relate to others. It's great. It also helps in hiring. I'm the one you met at Orlando Crime Con. Hi, Nancy. I'm going to go to the one in September. What? I don't know what he said.
Get profiled by the program.
Oh, get profiled by the program. Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know. But I just want to see it myself. Yeah, so I think we met Nancy on the line to get in. Anyway, we were around some people who were not very nice.
Oh, I'm gonna get Wonder Clips for this.
Okay, she's going to get Wonder Clips. They're right here.
I use the bigger ones.
Oh, the bigger ones.
I'll try my best
What did he say?
to use the Wonder Clips correctly.
Oh, so she's talking about these big, humongous ones. I've never used them. I've never even touched one, actually, so that made me want to. That's like a hair clip. Wow.
little
I've
barrette.
never even seen those in real life. Like, I mean, obviously I know we sell them, but I've never seen those before. I don't even know that those existed, actually.
It is plugged in.
And I would say with the glue gun, the one thing Priscilla told us, well, when she came was, her and Chelsea told us is like, the tinier the tip is, the better, because the glue won't go everywhere. And then she said, Well, because we asked her, like, well, which glue gun do you want us to get? And she was like, please don't buy the cheapest one because those don't work as well. So.
I do use 2 types of glue guns. This is one that I use for like this part of connecting the 2 pieces or like the magnets, washers. But then when I'm doing rickrack or like the pom-poms, I use this very fine tip one, and it's a finger glue gun. So
What's the brand of those?
Surebonder.
Yeah. So we sell them, and then sometimes they're in stock and sometimes they're not. They're kind of hard to get, like from the manufacturer, but we do have them.
Now,
sometimes.
granted, I could use this for the vintage trim. However, I don't want glue seeping over when I press. This?
Yeah, we do.
So iron hot rest. I do use this to put my glue on.
So on that, like, that's like something you could use for teenage girls too, to like put their curling iron on.
We're almost there.
We're just waiting for the glue gun to heat up. The tutorial is so awesome. Thank you. I've stitched dozens of projects, but you can count my FFOs on one hand.
Jordan, can you expand it, please?
And have fingers left over. I'm so afraid of ruining my stitches. Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that we're doing the finishing now ourselves because the framing is just too expensive. I mean, I feel like you have to on those big ones. Yeah, the glue gun is not wanting to cooperate this morning. I'm so scared of glue guns. That one day I burned myself. Oh my gosh, that was so painful.
There's no rhyme or reason. I just go for it. I'm pretty much racing against drying time. So that's why I put the dots on there so that when I flip it over, I know exactly where I need to press it. Yeah. Jordan, is that good before I press it down? Kimberly?
Yeah.
And then, because we don't have books here or anything, or like in the studio, anything heavy, this is what I use the Wonder Clips for.
Oh, I was wondering.
Those,
I'm going to put one in my hair just for the fun of it. I have never seen those in my life. How did you know those existed?
I think when I was cleaning out underneath here, we found some. And
those are awesome.
If I ever run out of glue sticks, which, does happen, I use this, I don't know how to pronounce it, the tacky glue. And because this takes longer to dry than the hot glue, I put a ton of these on.
Oh my gosh.
Just
in case.
Just in case. This is probably excessive, but... And then, I just set it off to the side and work on the next step. Okay, here, we'll do magnets and washers. Usually for Kimberly's stuff, I finish each one on its own board, but for this one, I really didn't want to paint 12 pieces. So the size I'm using is 1 inch. Is that what diameter? Circumference? Diameter? And I'll just...
Okay, so it says ceramic disc magnet, and she got it at Home Depot. 1 inch by 0.156 inches.
They do make your hands dirty. So I put these and then I go wash my hands so I don't touch your stitch piece.
I had no idea it did that. Oh, that's gross.
Be careful. I know some magnets you can get at like Hobby Lobby or Michael's.
Okay.
Jordan has paper towels in here.
And so we're just doing 2 magnets.
2 magnets. I do put hot glue on the magnet. Ooh, that's strong. That cleaner.
Is it? Oh, he brought a napkin and it has cleaner on it. I didn't know it had cleaner on it. I was like, what? It smells good.
And then I give it a firm press because it is wood with hot glue gun. There have been times that the magnet will fall off. Depends how smooth your surface is.
And then Priscilla's the one that told us that ceramic. You want to look for the word ceramic. So, and I think you can get them like Amazon, Home Depot, Lowe's, all that stuff. Like all the places like that. I love hearing the interaction between everyone. Thanks, Denise, for sharing your expertise. I had no idea those made your fingers dirty.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Like, is it because there's residue on it?
I guess.
Ugh.
I don't think I've ever gotten a stitch piece, like an actual piece, dirty from it.
And then for the washers, D says to make sure they're magnetic. These are called fender washers. I have no idea what the word fender means, but
I just know. I can tell you how to read this though. So this 1/4 inch is the inside of this.
oh,
The 1 1/4 is this. So I just always have a 1/4 inch for the inside because the bigger your hole, the more glue is gonna go through. So I try to keep this hole smaller.
do you know what fender means, Jordan? Almost dropped these.
Now for us in Home Depot, the magnets and the fender washers, same aisle.
Oh,
So I find them both there. Let me clean my hands before I touch your piece.
I had no idea that did that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're gonna put these two down and then just glue it and then put the thing on top, right?
I'll put these back. Luckily, I don't have to do this again. The magnets, I just have to do the washers.
And there's 75 in there, so I could stitch technically 20, whatever 75 divided by 2 is.
And you can I buy them in bulk just for how much we go through them. You can get like a pack of 3. You can go in and buy singles.
Oh,
It just depends on how much or how many times you use them.
Vicky asked if the Housewives fabric is going away. So we keep reordering what Henry Glass has, but I think they're discontinuing it, which is really sad. But if it's in stock at Henry Glass, we do order it.
Fender washers are larger in diameter.
Vendor washers are larger in diameter.
And they name that because they secure fenders on vehicles.
Because they secure fenders on vehicles, but I don't know what a fender is. So.
Yeah, what's a fender?
Like the things like that stick out like bumpers and everything.
Oh.
I don't know. He says something about a bumper. Oh, that looks so good.
Okay. So then now from here, so that I don't have to figure out how to center these to match perfectly, I place them on the washer onto the magnets.
And this is why she wants that hole in the center to be small. I just figured it out.
And then I do one at a time because it's metal and it's cold. The glue dries a lot faster.
And then you pull it
And then
off.
I pull it off. But I give it a minute. Oh.
A fender is the part of your car that goes over the tires.
The fenders that stick out are
They're saying it's over the tire, not the bumper.
I'm saying the oak for the tires. It's like wheel well.
I have no idea what a fender is.
You're gonna have to show me on the car.
Denise, they want to see your ring. Put it straight. It's 3 rings. Isn't it?
Yeah, technically this set right here is the actual like engagement, and then this is just,
A really cute ring.
oh yeah, something that I liked. Okay, now we'll do the other one, and that's on there.
Wow, that dried pretty quick.
Yeah. Also, why I like a shorter margin here, which we cut 1 inch, is because when I fold over, if you don't put enough tape or glue and have extra like fabric just hanging, then your magnet may not like secure all the way.
Nancy says she's going to a cross-stitch event in 2 weeks. And Priscilla and Chelsea will be there. Wish you could drop in. I don't even know where it is, but in 2 weeks, my daughter's graduating high school, and my nephew's graduating college. Oh, my nephew's graduating college the
Ooh, that's stuck.
3 or 4 days before her. So, yeah, she had her very last dance performance, and me and Kevin cried like babies. And then Christopher kept staring at us, and I was like, can you just stop looking at us? Nancy says rare earth magnets are super fast, strong, and clean. It looks so good.
Okay, let me just center it. And there you go.
Okay, so do y'all have any questions for Denise on that? I'm gonna give it a couple minutes. Oh, Dee says she glues both at the same time as she's living on the edge.
The more magnets or the more washers that I put on there, the harder it is. If I could probably do 2 at one time.
Oh, show them how you're doing it. Show them. Okay, so this thing is really cool because the glue just pops off. So this is for your iron. It's not really for hot glue, but we just use it. But like I said, you could use it for like your blow dryer, or if you still use a curling iron.
We even keep our rulers separate because there are times that I jump it.
Yeah,
and we'll chip it.
Okay, good. Okay.
I have the vacuum there if you want to clean up. Like if it was fuzzy, like anything
Oh,
here
yeah.
from the batting.
This will get like any of that like dry glue that wouldn't, yeah. Okay, everyone says it looks great. Okay, so let's do the front camera. Okay, so this is 14 count. And just ignore all this. This is 14 count. Okay, Jordan, pop up the 16 count, and then we can see that. Oh. Okay, so. Oh, top cam. Okay. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. That's good. That's good. So the red one is 16 count, so it's smaller. This one is 14 count, so it's bigger, and so it fills up more of the space.
And that's why we didn't do that secondary board, because we wouldn't have enough room.
Yeah, the red piece we didn't do. Okay, guys, so thank you so much. We will be back in 2 weeks. In the comments, give a really nice comment to Denise for doing all this hard work for us, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.